Hey everyone, Dave K, or should I say Captain America here with Mr. Incredible.
Oh yeah.
Just a couple of heroes here to save your Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween adventure. Letting you know how to make the most of your adventure. Let's do it. Captain America and Mr. Incredible here to talk to you about making the most of your Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. First of all, Mr. Incredible, I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you like to prioritize when you go to the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party.
Thanks, Cap. There's a lot of things that I love at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, and I think one of the big ones that I think about right away, especially with Halloween, are the costumes and the pictures. I know that is not always everyone's first choice, but for me, love getting the costumes, love getting those special pictures with characters or just kind of out and about with the photo pass. I truly love those photos in those costumes.
Yeah.
So much to love. What do you think?
I think that's a great point, and I think a lot of people are right there with you, where pictures and costumes are a priority for sure. Another priority, at least for me, and I think a lot of friends have this as well, is the shows, and making sure we get a chance to see all of those shows. So a couple of questions, and let's start with just those two things, the shows as well as those pictures. For starters, let's start with the shows. I feel like that's an easier one to be able to manage. Now, we can get in Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party at what time?
We can get in officially at 7. Now, if you already have a ticket to the park, you can be in there all day and just check in for the party at 7. So the difference comes down to, do you already have admission to the park? Another difference is, are you going to be in costume? If you're not going to be in costume, you can be in there all day. If you are planning on changing into costumes, you have to wait outside until around 6:45, 7, until they start letting guests into the Magic Kingdom.
Right. I remember last time we came to the party, or last time our friends came to the party, our friends Hook and Prince Charming came to the party. What they did was they went from snacks to then see 3 shows and then got those pictures. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking that may make sense in terms of making sure you catch that Boo to You parade first, right? Catch that Boo to You parade, maybe the first showing, and then after that you can proceed to the main stage for the special Not So Scary Spectacular, as well as Hocus Pocus. Does that seem like the best way to make sure that you can catch all the shows? What do you think?
It's one of the ways. It's definitely one of the ways, and with Disney changing some of those character meet and greets, it's something to consider. That is one of the ways to do it. Another way that I used to do it, not sure if it still counts, but it's important to mention, you go in as soon as you can, 7-ish, 6:45, take those pictures, take them early, get that, 7 Dwarves, Jack and Sally, do that first thing, and then grab a spot near the hub or close to the street and catch all 3 shows, Boo to You, Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular, and the fireworks from one spot. It can save you quite a bit. You do have to stand in one spot for a significant amount of time, but it's worth it. It's worth it for those great views.
Interesting. That's a good idea. I know last time our friends went, they went to Frontierland to see Boo to You and then moved, but I guess that was for snacks, specialty snacks and that sort of thing. So that's something to consider. You can see all 3 shows from that main stage area. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like, if we're on the same page on this one, it's seeing the earlier set of shows, right? Did those earlier set of shows line up in timing where the later ones are a little bit off from each other? Or
yes and no. Yes and no. You ask a very good question, though. It depends on how you experience Disney. I mean, if you see it early, if you see those shows early, then the later ones will line up well. If you see that fireworks show and then the shows, it lines up well there too. It depends if you're early or later. That's how I would think about it in your mind. Do you want to stay later? Do you want to try and catch as many early things as possible? I like to stay the whole night when possible, but there's a lot to both of them. They do line up. The timing's pretty good, but you do have to stand there for a long time if you do want to see all 3 shows at the same time.
Okay, sounds good. That makes sense. Now, we touched on a couple of different pictures, right? There's a couple of different characters you can take pictures with. Touched on 7 Dwarves. Mm-hmm. I know Jack and Sally are out there, and for me, that's a big one. I think they're probably specific and unique for the event. Talk to me about some of those character options, where you can find those characters, and how many of those are special specifically to the event.
Every year it changes a little bit. We have, let's see, Elvis Stitch is specific to that event. Jack and Sally is specific to the event. Seven Dwarfs are around for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. You've got the standard characters in their costumes, like Donald, or in their special Halloween costumes, like Donald and Daisy and Pluto and Mickey and Minnie. You've also got several others, Pooh and Tigger. They're all in their Halloween costumes. It's pretty cool to see it come together like that with all the costumes and all the characters. I love it.
That sounds like a lot of characters to catch.
Yes.
So we talked about there being a variety of characters to catch pictures with, but what I want to know is, where are these characters located, and can I catch multiple characters together so I can try to maximize how many photos I get that night?
They are together in some ways. Mickey and Minnie, actually you have to see them a little bit separately, so that one doesn't count. Jack and Sally you see together. Seven Dwarfs, you see them all together. Donald and I believe Daisy and one other character meet all together, which is very helpful. The other characters you do have to kind of prioritize who you like, who you do really want to see. Elvis Stitch is very popular nowadays. He's relatively new. Jack and Sally, always extremely popular. It comes down to the priorities. So is it Elvis Stitch, Jack and Sally, or Seven Dwarfs? Those are the big ones to hit first. Everything else, usually the lines are a little bit shorter.
Got it. Those three have the longest lines.
Yes.
Good to know. Good to know. Now let's talk about snacks, because some people may want to prioritize those specialty snacks. We've had a couple of the specialty snacks, and let's get your reactions and your thoughts of which snacks are worthwhile. Now we got the Hades Hatred and the Pumpkin Spice Milkshake last time we were here. Have you had any other ones besides those two?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not at this party anyway. And they've changed up the menu a little bit, which is always fun because you get something new. But between those two, I'm definitely for the milkshake. The issue is the milkshake is not specific to the party.
Right.
So it's you can get it any time during the fall at Anti-Gravity's. So it's a great one. It's a great one to have. Mickey's Not So Scary, but is it the best party treat? I don't think we found it yet. I think we have more to test.
I think that's fair. Yes, and that's something to keep in mind. If you're going to be here for a while on your trip, not just for Mickey's Not So Scary, make sure during the day you drop into Magic Kingdom and grab yourself a pumpkin spice milkshake. Again, our favorite so far. So you can save yourself some of that Not So Scary Halloween party time by getting that snack prior to the party on another day or on the same day, so that you can make sure that you get to enjoy that and also maximize that party time.
No, that's exactly what I recommend.
Great. So it sounds like we've touched on the shows, the pictures, and some of the snacks. How much of that do you think that you can get done in a given night if you're trying to do as much as you can at the Not So Scary Halloween party?
Again, it depends on priorities. If you prioritize the character meet and greets, you'll be able to meet a lot of them. If you prioritize the show, you'll be able to see all of them. If you prioritize trick-or-treating, you'll be able to get a lot of candy. But being able to do absolutely everything at one party can be a little bit difficult. So it comes down to what is the priority for you.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Looking forward to checking more and more of it out here really soon. Do you have any other tips or suggestions for being able to maximize your party, make the most out of it, or your adventure as a whole during the party season?
Making the most out of your adventure. I would say consider in advance everything that there is to see and do. Look at a list, put a whole list together, figure out what the priorities are, think about it, and then start planning it out. Plan out what it is that is the most important, then determine what you're going to do each hour. You know, usually at Disney I say leave some break time, think about, you know, how you want to, stop and smell the roses. Not So Scary, I wouldn't recommend exactly that, because you are paying for that limited time and the party time. So you want to really start thinking about the details of where you want to be, when you want to be there, and get to that thought process.
Right. Now, let's say I was debating if I wanted to wear a costume or not wear a costume to the party, or some of my friends did, because I'm of course Captain America. I'm always Captain America.
Of course.
But when my friends are debating if they want to wear a costume, do you see a value to them to not wear a costume so that they can do more during that time? Let's talk about timing of when things open and what they could and couldn't do during that party night time, or if they weren't wearing a costume.
I love wearing a costume. That's me, so I'm always going to love wearing a costume at Disney, especially for the Halloween party. But will not having a costume speed you up? Maybe slightly, depending on the costume. If it's a very elaborate costume, probably. Prince Charming and Captain Hook are slow costumes. You need to move slowly with those because, they're fragile, made by hand, unbelievably well done by my sister Michelle. But if you have a light costume on, you might still be able to move pretty fast. Mr. Incredible is pretty quick. Captain America is also pretty quick. So in there, you can go even less than that, obviously, and move quicker. Just think about the details that you want to capture along the way.
And of course, when you're saying costumes like Incredible and Captain America, you're not talking about us, the real Captain America and Mr. Incredible. You're talking about if any of you also want to wear costumes to look like us.
Well, yeah,
for sure.
We could all be real characters.
Okay, that's fair. That's a good point. You're right. Everyone can be a real Mr. Incredible or Captain America. So it sounds like it depends on the costume in order to maximize that time. Now, how many times can I check to see a show, if I want to see a show multiple times throughout my trip? Are the wait times for those pictures longer or shorter near the earlier or later in the night? How about some of those insights?
So sometimes at night, Jack and Sally, for example, will close an hour before the close of the party. That's how long the line is. Maybe even more than that. If it's Halloween night, you're going to see that line close maybe 2 hours after the party is, before the party is set to close. So again, the priorities. And will the lines fill up? Yes, they will, depending on the time of year. Because in August, September, you're not going to be as crowded as you are in November because it's Halloween season. But again, I'm going to keep saying it. Sound like a broken record. Priorities.
Yeah.
Priorities. What are the priorities?
Yep. There's another piece that I don't think we consider that we want to point out. Another benefit of the Not So Scary Halloween Party is those seasonal Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom cards.
Oh my gosh.
Which you can collect for each party night that you go. So make sure that you check in to do that. We didn't get the chance to do that last time.
I'm ashamed I've actually never gotten a.
Oh, wow.
Well, again, I prioritized it. I would go and experience, I would see all the characters, and I never got a card.
That's fair.
And I wanted to get a card, but of course I didn't, and it was closed, and guest services would close, and you'd never get a card, but you got to prioritize what's important to you.
That's fair. Now, you talked about liking wearing costumes and wanting to change characters. How often do you see us wearing costumes, or our friends, Michael and David, wearing costumes,
yes.
versus how often they'll just go in regular clothes?
I'm used to wearing a costume and Not So Scary. I don't have that many costumes, though, so I will probably go in costume. Let's say my friend Michael will probably repeat his costumes maybe 2 times each year. So 2 uses of each costume each year. I think that's a fair amount. And then otherwise, just like a Halloween shirt. Probably how I'll do it.
That sounds like it could maybe be 50% of the time costumes, 50% of the time no costumes. That sound about right?
That's about right.
Okay.
I at least, if you're going just for one party, I recommend a costume. That's me.
That's fair.
If you're going multiple times during the year, then yes, maybe you want to get that costume picture and all those have a great time in costume. And then other parties not go in costume. So it depends on you entirely. What do you enjoy most? If you're all about those pictures and you have lots of costumes, wear the costumes. It's your one chance during the year. You got to do it.
Right, that makes sense. Let us know if this information was helpful to you. Hopefully you were able to get some value from this. If you have any other questions or comments or just thoughts on the Not So Scary Halloween Party, let us know in the comments below. Thanks for being a part of the fun with us, and for more fun, family-friendly times, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to share in all the adventures with us. Until next time,
have a magical and incredible day.
And play on and marvel and hero on. We'll see you soon.